All right, so the way I look at foreign currency, and I've been trying to figure out the best way to explain this, is we first have to start thinking about, well, what currencies are we talking about for a particular entity? And there's a variety of different descriptions that they have, and what I would suggest to you is that we first of all have to understand what is the currency of our primary organization. And then from there, or for functional currency of our primary organization, and then the functional currency of any other organization that we own, that is a subsidiary, that is another operation. It may not be a separate standalone company. We've got to look at the functional currency for each of those entities. So what the heck is the functional currency? So in your textbook, you're going to see discussions about determination of the functional currency, and more specifically, a discussion about what are the different currencies that exist. So you've got local currency, you've got the recording currency, and you've got the reporting currency. Those are all interesting, but the thing that really is important is to understand what is the functional currency. The functional currency is clearly what's going to be the most important thing to understand. And so the literature in the financial accounting standards has you, and we'll go over here to broad transactions. This is all ASC 830. And we'll take a look in our overall section. And specifically, I want to look at implementation guidance and illustrations. And while I haven't assigned any of this stuff as reading, I strongly recommend taking a look at some of this stuff, because what you'll find is some of the examples that are in these textbooks are taken directly from this implementation guidance and illustrations. So when we take a look at implementation guidance, one of the things they go through is making sure that we understand what is the functional currency. And these are all of the indicators, and it takes some judgment. There's some judgment involved in understanding what is the functional currency. We have to start looking at, well, when we are dealing with cash, how much of our cash is in that foreign currency? And is this cash kind of our standalone cash? And it's not really being affected by the parent entity's cash flows, right? So we want to look at what our foreign currency is, and then we also want to look at the parent's foreign currency. What are we dealing with as far as sales market indicators versus the foreign currency versus the parent's currency, right? So we're always looking at what is our currency. And so these are all indicators, and that's all they are. They're indicators. There's no fast and hard rule about what is a functional currency. And they're very specific about that when we go back up here to number 10, and they start talking about, we can go into the glossary, and we can look at functional currency, right? And they talk about this is the functional currency is the currency in the primary economic environment in which the entity operates, right? And the definitions are here in 81045 2 through 6. And these are the things that you use to identify a foreign entity's functional currency. Now, for a U.S. company, the functional currency is the U.S. dollar, right? So whenever we're dealing with just a U.S. straight company, we can say the functional currency is going to be the U.S. dollar. Any other transaction that we do that is outside of the U.S. dollar, that is going to be a foreign currency. Anything that's outside the U.S. dollar is going to be a foreign currency. And so what we're going to think about here in this entire section is looking at transactions that we do with the U.S. company in a currency that's something other than the U.S. dollar. How do we handle those transactions? And then another grouping of discussions will be, what if we own or we have foreign operations there where the functional currency is not the US dollar? And we have to consolidate all of that financial information into the US company's operations, so that when we create a financial report, that financial report not only has the US operations, but it also has the foreign operations, but translated into our functional currency, which is the US dollar.